No way.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, that is hilarious. What's up, everybody?
What's up, everyone?
Welcome to another episode of Moral Combat.
Moral Combat.
Yeah, we are a podcast or a video cast. I don't really know, a podcast, video cast, depending on where you're watching or listening to us, about religious trauma.
Religious trauma.
Because we made it out alive.
Not everyone else does.
Not everyone else does.
Yes.
And as the podcast has started to evolve more and more, because this is episode 40. Holy bananas. Holy sweet pickled pineapples.
Holy pickled pineapples.
Holy goodness.
Holy drool on me and call me Jesus.
Yeah, dude. Holy drool on me and call me Jesus. I love that's a great one. The first one you kind of like.
Yeah.
Second one is bing dong.
Ding ding ding.
Yeah, episode 40, and we got the dogs in the house tonight.
We do. Who let the dogs out?
Atmore, my beautiful dog, is to the right of me laying down, and Maya, Zach's dog, is to the right of him.
Trying to get on my lap.
And so they'll be walking around, hopefully not distracting us.
Yes.
Chantel is not in the house tonight. She is doing rehearsal for Heels.
Yeah, Heels show.
Which is your girls' class.
Mm-hmm.
And my girl is normally on it too, but this year or this season she didn't do it because she's busy traveling the globe doing research for her dissertation.
Wow.
Sometimes you got to give things up to get other things going. You know what I mean?
I don't know what you mean. Can you explain further?
Heels is a huge commitment.
It is a very big commitment.
And it's not just girls. There's a lot of different types of individuals in that crew, but Chantel is one of them. And so we miss her, but she's here in spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And she continues to rebrand Moral Combat.
Yes.
Which we got time.
Yeah.
Every good thing in life isn't rushed.
Nope.
It seems like if you rush things or like feel like you need to be really fast on the jump with them, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, it really is not worth it.
I was actually just reading one of my books this morning, and it was talking about how it's, the end result, if anything, isn't nearly as glorious or as exciting as the journey getting there. The journey is the goal, baby. That's the goal of life. It's like you're traveling to go somewhere, you want to go to like a private island with like clear waters and white sandy beaches. That's not fun. It's the plane ride there that's exciting.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a great way of describing
I'm kidding.
that.
I wanted to say the worst example ever. I'm thinking more like artistic approaches, creative journeys.
Yeah.
Traveling is one of those things we call self-care, right? If you wanted to go to like a sandy beach to get some R&R.
Yeah. Self-care.
Self-love would be doing this podcast.
Yes, every Sunday.
And so it's like, why don't we have more subscribers? Why aren't there more people listening? And it's like, even if there were a ton more subscribers and people listening, we'd still be on the same journey.
Yeah.
And it's this journey together, baby, that makes me, would you say drool and call me Jesus?
Drool on me and call me Jesus.
Drool on me and call me Jesus. Yes. So good.
Man.
Every once in a while you say things that I'm really impressed by.
Thanks, man. They just kind of come to me on the spot.
Let me rephrase that. You say a lot of things that I'm really impressed by.
Thanks, man.
How are you doing?
I'm pretty tired, man. It's been
again? You're tired again.
It's a long work week. Ever since my back got hurt, they've only been scheduling me 2 days a week, which has been helpful. But this last week was 4 days on, and it's starting to get real busy because summer's coming around. And so it's just nonsense every day. You understand it being in the hospital. It's kind of just nonsense every single day.
It's true.
And so it was very...
But we've talked about this. If you work in the food industry, it's different than working in the blood industry.
Yep.
Like blood is like people are coming into the hospital and they're like, are you here to save me? And I'm like, I'm here to save you.
Yeah.
I feel like your industry, they're like, feed me and do a good job or else you're not getting a tip.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay, well, then I guess I'll pretend.
Yeah. Exactly.
I think it's a difference.
Yeah. But I'm just beat.
Comfort is food. So, I mean, people put a lot of pressure and you got to do a good job or else, that's like a huge part of your income is doing a good job.
It's really funny when like people get all panicky, servers, bartenders, whatever. You start to panic because it's like we're so overwhelmed. it's really funny just to look at them and go, dude, it's just food.
Yeah.
And just to watch their face get red. It's just food. Relax. And they're like,
Yeah, it's servers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
they're
my
like
gosh.
freaking out. I can't remember what's our special.
Yeah.
It's like
just food.
It's just food. It's always nice if you've worked in a nice restaurant, like if you hear a chef say that, which is rare, but if a chef is like, everyone needs to relax. It's just food. You're like, you heard it, folks. It's just food. Take it easy tonight. Chef said. Yeah, in the hospital, it's not like that. I can't be like, relax. It's just your life.
Yeah, it's just being alive and existing.
Yeah. What's going to happen if I don't wake up? Who cares? It's just your life.
It's just life. No big deal. NBD.
A lot of people are always like, they'll ask me this question. They'll be like, can you guarantee me that this is going to go well? And I'll be like, no.
Yeah.
I can't guarantee that.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that the track record's like 9.999 out of 10. We're basically perfect. But I can't guarantee you ever that what's going to happen right now isn't going to be like the time where something goes wrong.
Totally.
But I'll be here to save your life if I have to.
Yeah. There's always a risk.
And
always a risk.
I don't even know if that's going to go well. Because, I've done this so many times on the podcast. I haven't done it recently, but, that's the sound of ribs breaking to get to the heart. And so sometimes saving your life is the most painful experience ever. Healing is violent. What can you say?
Being alive is violent.
Being alive can be violent.
Yes.
And it can also be super fun.
Super fun. Because being violent is so fun.
What?
I don't know. I was trying to just go off that.
Anyways, who is this guy?
I don't know.
Who let this dude into the house? Who let him into the podcast house?
The dogs.
I'm really loving this energy tonight.
What energy?
It's just like, well, here we are.
Yeah, I know.
Episode 40. Here we go.
Episode 40. Here we go again.
We do have a topic tonight, and it's actually a really good topic. How
was your week? How about that? Let's go there. You already asked me about my week.
Oh my God. Wow. Thanks for asking.
Shut up. Tell me how your week was.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. There's just, some stuff going on in my personal life that is requiring a lot of attention and a lot of awareness and a lot of being present and just letting the struggle of it wash over me. And then there's a lot of things in my personal life that are just glorious. And so there's two different ways I can go about that. Some of the things that are going on in my life, I just can never share on this podcast.
Yeah, of course not.
And it's like, it's just never can come out, which is why we talk about religious trauma, because the other trauma can't be talked about. But so in that area, though, that I can't really talk about, I think this is a really good segue to go into our podcast, because our topic today is because I've had to be really vulnerable with my fiance and with some close friends and some people I really trust. And some people have reached out even to me, just lending their love and support and letting me know, hey, I'm alive and I care about you. Just know that, which feels rare.
Yeah.
To get that. And so there's been this collective sort of consciousness of just like, sometimes we need help. And so this past week, I have helped myself by like keeping up on my workouts, doing my gardening. And I have really fallen off the wagon with the yoga. I have fallen off the wagon with meditation, but I continue. So it depends, I guess, on your definition of meditation.
I've been doing like a 15-minute little yoga thing every morning.
Really?
Mm-hmm. But it's mainly stretching, but it's like 3 yoga stretches.
Is it like guided on YouTube, or
it was one that was guided, and then I just have continued.
You've memorized it?
Yeah, it's pretty easy, but it's like three different stretches.
Do you feel better from it?
My back still hurts.
So it's a yoga specific for back,
for lower back pain, yeah, and sciatica.
I know that your back is going to continue hurting, but you just added something new into your life. Yoga specifically is, like it has like a meditative approach to like your body.
Yeah.
Have you noticed any sort of like stress release with it too, or is it just kind of you're just doing it?
It's a great way to start your day. So I just feel, it feels healthy doing it, and I want to keep doing yoga.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's literally what it's about, is you're adding to your medicine bundle of you, like waking up every morning and flipping on TikTok or social media or whatever. First things first, you're literally kind of putting yourself into the energy of what you are. So it's like, if you come as you are. So if you're just going to come up just like kind of feeding that energy, then I think that's kind of That's a way of living your life. But if you wake up and you're like, I am going to deep breathe in my bed for 10 minutes and I'm going to drink a huge liter of water, or whatever, like over the course of these 15 minutes, and I'm going to thank the water and have gratitude for as it awakens me. And then I'm going to write in my journal for 10 minutes and do 20 minutes of yoga, and then I'll start my day. That's like a whole different way of starting your day. So I think anything that you add that's different, for whatever the reasons are, that are different than like the reactive, this just feels good to do every day, you're adding to your medicine bundle. You're like adding to yourself.
Yeah.
And so to me, that sounds like medicine. Proud of you.
Thank you.
I don't think things are always supposed to feel, like it's not magic. It's about you doing more for you. And that takes awareness, responsibility, and then action.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, and it's just proven that stretching prevents injuries.
I mean, absolutely.
If you stretch every single day, you're preventing injuries, especially if you're working in a gruesome labor of nursing or bartending or something where you're on your feet for 8 to 10 hours and you're lifting weird things. It's like if you're stretched every day, most of the time you're not going to injure yourself unless you're really poorly lifting things. Yeah.
Which you could like apply that to every area of your life. Stretch your mind before you go into conversation, like stretch this before you do that, stretch that. So my week has been similar. I guess I was doing such like this not aggressive, but for me, I had added a lot of things to my life daily, like meditation and yoga. And talk about having a habit. They say, right, 21 days of doing something kind of solidifies your habit, but really it's like 40 days and then it's in. And so right at about that 20-day mark, it was like, you can feel it. It was just like things in life started to get a lot harder, as in just like, there is this idea that life happens at us. So I was feeling like life was just happening at me. And by that, I just had to let it hit me and wash over me. And instead of me seeing that life actually truly comes from me, like the universe is within me pouring out, my reaction can be like, just to like, what's the point? Like, what's the point today? And so I just didn't do as like strong of my meditative and yoga practices as I've been doing. But I have still been deep breathing like throughout the entire day and being very conscious of that and having gratitude. And so it's been a really good week. It's been a really tough week. Megan is still out of town in Detroit, and she'll be back this week. And so that'll be really nice. And then Evan was just in town. He just went back or in town at the house. And so it's always wonderful having him. A lot of things feel like completion or okayness or comfort, whatever you want to call that, when I have my son at the house. It's just been him and I. We're so close. So many intense conversations this week. And so there's just been a lot of growth, and which is healing.
Yeah.
And so I don't have any complaints. I'm woke up this morning and read and finished a book and had a really good breakfast, a really good talk with Evan, and it's been a really good day. And but to kind of segue into our topic today, we are talking about asking for help.
Asking for help.
What does that mean? How do you do it? Do you do it?
Benefits of it.
The benefits of it, the difficulties of it, and really asking for help, I think in a smaller term, is vulnerability, being vulnerable. And so I come as I am today to you. And you want to start it off? What's it mean to you? What's it mean to like
ask for help? I mean, it's either as simple as asking for help or being vulnerably honest. I think honesty can also be asking for help. I think the key term there is vulnerability. I think vulnerability is a superpower. And anytime I've ever been vulnerable, you can feel the power of vulnerability, of letting go of your ego and being vulnerable. So I think that's kind of like the underlining aspect of asking for help is being vulnerable with another person about something that you're afraid of, something that you're afraid of letting people know about you, something that makes you feel weak or something that makes you feel afraid. And you're just asking for either guidance or help, or if it's something as specific as like, I need help with this thing. Can you help me do it? Or can you help me motivate myself to do it? Or help me in some way. That's a very specific, but even just being vulnerable with your partner on letting them know what you need in a relationship or something, like do this for me when I'm reacting this way, is a very vulnerable way of asking for help. It comes up in my relationship all the time.
I like what you said in the beginning of that. You said asking for help is like a process of, like, to get there, you have to really let go of your ego.
Mm-hmm.
Can you elaborate on that? Like, what is the process of, how do you let go of your ego, or how does that feel to you to let go of your ego, to ask for help?
Well, it feels very defeating, and it's letting yourself feel defeated for the reward of hopefully being benefited by the help of another person. But it's letting go of that ego. And I don't really, it's hard to explain what that would like. It doesn't necessarily feel good right away. It feels vulnerable, and it feels like you could be attacked, or what if they don't agree with me? What if I am being weak? And every time I've ever been vulnerable, it's normally received pretty well, because vulnerability is powerful. People can feel the realness in vulnerability.
Yeah. It's almost like if you're, and I'm assuming that you're vulnerable, and is there anybody else outside of your life besides your romantic partner that you're vulnerable with and asking for help?
You.
I said with not your romantic partner.
Love it.
Got it. No, yeah, you're right. Me. And that's, I think that in the ways that we're talking about, like what it means to be asking for help, we're talking about, like, I mean, hey, can you help me come, fix my fence?
No, right? Not like that.
No, this is like outward help. We're talking about inward help.
Yeah.
And it's not like you have come to me your whole life.
Mm-mm.
This is like it is rare when you have come to me vulnerably and been like, can I call you? Why? What's up? I'm not doing so hot and I need some help. And it's like, oof, wow, I'm available now. And I think that there's like a difference between, like that's just like not necessarily, that's like a new thing for even you and I. And it's been really powerful. It's been really healing. It's almost like the healing that you and I have had has led to more vulnerability just in our own relationship as siblings. The toxic masculinity that drips down in our bodies so deep. And, but for me, man, like in my relationship, I don't do it as much. I mean, me and Megan talk all the time about everything, but there's a difference when I feel really anxious or really depressed. And it's like, I always have this thought that's like, I really want to call her or text her and be like, yo, I'm not doing well right now, and I need to be direct with you on what I need. Can you help me? It's like, I actually don't do that often. That's something that's been pretty new. I think that the original, like the way that it used to go in my life, and even in my relationship with Megan in the first couple of years, it was kind of like something bad would happen, like an argument or a fight. And it would be like, oh, I'm not doing well. And so my shield goes up and I'm like, stay away from me. Nobody understands me. And it's like, that's like a really negative energy. And it's like, what is wrong with you? Like, something's clearly bothering you. Why don't you just tell me? And that other person's like kind of needing to demand it. Like, this is not how I function.
But you also have to know what you need in those moments. And I feel like it's not really that easy to know what you need. And when you do, it's accepting that you know what you need and to be vulnerable to ask for it.
Yeah.
But I find myself multiple times feeling like I'm being wronged, or that someone doesn't understand me. And it's like, I think those are the thoughts where you should ask yourself what you need and just try to dig deeper, because anytime it's like, you don't understand me, blah, 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 it's you. That's your ego all the time.
Yeah, it's true. And I think that it would be, I could make the assumption, which is this is still an assumption, but because I'm a human and I know that I'm just one of everybody else, like we're all connected, that I think that what you said about how when you are vulnerable, it's normally received really well. I think that depends on it's like who you trust, right? You're not just going to be like the most vulnerable part of yourself to everybody.
No, not at all.
But those people that are like, that are there to love you, that you trust. And it's like, still, it's like at first there's this feeling of like, no. I don't need anybody. I don't need any help. I got this. Even if that's not said, that's just the body, mind, like everything just kind of plays out that way. And normally when there's like real honest vulnerability, like it's like you're saying, like, God, I'm hurting so bad that at this point I need to reach out to the person I trust or whatever. I think the reason why it's received so well is because that person themselves are working on the same thing.
Yeah.
Like nobody, there's no get out of jail free card, right? All of us can benefit from like serious vulnerability. And in my experience, the more vulnerable I become, given, let's just say this podcast is like a form of being vulnerable, right? With our own trauma of our pasts and how we're being publicly healing and talking about it and all that, is the act of this vulnerability has led me to heal dramatically in my personal life, in my private life. Not even just with you, like my relationship with mom and dad has started to where like things have just I've started to let them off the hook so much, which has led me to like in my personal life, this is going to sound really crazy, but it's true that they, I was opening up to them a little bit about things going on in my life. And I think it was mom or dad said something like, oh, can I, is it okay with you if I add you and your family to the prayer chain? And in the past, I'd be like, no, nope, absolutely not. And this time I was just immediately, I was like, of course, I don't. Why? Yeah, that sounds wonderful. Thank you. And it was like, it felt really interesting for me to do that. But in that moment, I felt like, God, I'm healing right now because like, this is proof because I'm not here to, like I've said this, I'm not here to judge prayer. I'm not here to judge any type of spiritual type of like, let us pray for you type of thing. And it's instead of being like, no, I don't believe in that. It's more of kind of like, feels like you're just wanting to do your version of like spiritual help or whatever. And I just kind of said, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that felt like a way of me being vulnerable by being like, sure, I need help. Like this is me accepting your spirituality. Go for it. And so I feel like being vulnerable on this podcast has really helped me to ask help, to learn how to ask for more help. So I just think the act of being vulnerable, no matter what it is going to lead to more vulnerability, which is going to lead to like a more stronger connection in your relationships, especially with the people you trust.
Yeah. So I'm starting to like feel like there's certain feelings I get where I can feel myself growing. And vulnerability, I always feel like I'm growing out of vulnerability.
Which is interesting because I think the ego feels like that's the opposite at first, right? It feels like pain. It feels like fear. Like, no, if you do this, you're going to look so not strong. And fear is just an energy. It's not a stopping point. It's just actually just like it's like a thing that feels aggressive and abrasive and I can't keep going. When in reality, it's learning how to like live with the fear. And for me, it's like, being like on my own since, 17, out of the church, having all that religious trauma, feeling like very much rejected by our parents and family. And then it's not been easy for me to ask for help. I've gone into the world, since I was a kid, like, I got this. Don't worry about me. And I'm such a hard worker. And like, even when I'm extremely depressed and anxious throughout my life, I've been able to like never miss a day at work because of it. Never miss a day in college because of it. So I could, I'm saying? Like, even in the pits, it was almost that became so familiar that it was like, that's just the way life is. Where now the move is, hey, if you're not doing well, and it's been, I heard this saying that was like, if you're really hurting for more than 20 minutes by yourself, it's time to reach out. And I thought that was really interesting. I was like, 20 minutes is nothing. Try like 2 weeks. Then I'll reach out. It's like, things are changing when you're more vulnerable. And, but for me, like the first thing that hits is like, I think honestly, out of most things in my life, asking for help is one of the hardest things.
Yeah.
I just had a Zoom meeting with a group of people from that retreat, and it seemed like that was the common theme. How do you ask for help? Like, this healing can be so violent, but it's still like so hard to go to anybody about it. It seems like when things are really hard or really heavy, that's the last thing we want to do is tell people, hey, life's really hard for me and I'm not doing well. It's like the last thing I want to do is for people to know that. And I'm getting a lot better with like my romantic partner, with you, but it's still something that like is going to be, and this is just me being vulnerable. Like it's really not easy for me to be vulnerable in that way, to be like, I'm not doing well. This is how I need help. I'm gonna ask you, can you please start doing this for me so that it helps me? You know, it's like, because it makes me feel so weak.
And that's really powerful communication though. Like when you think about it, whether it makes you weak or not, even just knowing yourself that well takes work. Not everyone knows themselves that well. I feel like it's taken a lot of work for me to even know what I need or where I'm not doing well and how someone could help me, because it used to be helpless. The way I used to think about a lot of things. It's just, this is who I am. This is definite. When in reality, it's like the work I'm doing outside this podcast and on this podcast and everything is leading me to see what I need, leading me to see where I am, quote unquote, like weak or needing help, especially in my relationship with my partner.
Yeah, because I think that's like the easiest one to talk about is when you're whether you're married or boyfriend, girlfriend, or engaged.
Relationships just take so much work, man, especially when you're in a serious relationship that you're trying to get married and start a family. It takes so much work.
And what's that work? Vulnerability
and communication.
Like I think like that is literally the icing on the cake. That's the secret medicine. It's like, how can you be intimate with somebody? Well, first you need to be like vulnerable with yourself. And that, sure, like I think that's where therapy really helps people, right? Like being able to talk to a therapist every week or every other week where they're not emotionally connected to you. There's no connection to the family. They're just there to listen to you. And there's like a financial exchange. There's something about that where you like maybe it's a little easier to go into that and be like, so this is going on and I don't know. And you just go off and they're like, okay, that's all our time. And there's like no advice.
And sometimes that is a therapy session.
But I think that is the therapy. Is like we have a hard time doing that. We can't get through this life alone. We're not supposed to.
Yeah.
And so having a therapist is not your partner, not the one that you're like trying to be so strong with all the time. I mean, you and I are now, I mean, you're 30 and I'm almost 33. But so much of our lives was I'm the older brother, you're the younger brother. I mean, think about how we opened up Blouse. What's up, everybody? My name is Nathan. This is my little brother, Zach. And
at that time, though, dude, like I was your little brother.
Right.
I was like young 20s.
Of course.
It was just different. You were like fully in college, totally different life.
But I feel like that dynamic, that's such a defined thing that like probably, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, I'll just speak for myself. It kept me from being very vulnerable with you because what I was to you was like, whatever you need, I'm going to be.
Yeah.
So it's like, you don't have any money? I got it.
Yeah.
Like, let me show you how to party. Let me show you how to do this. Let me show you how to talk to girls. Let me show you how to do this. It's like, it was always about me being an older brother, like, which is an ego. It's an ego move. And I felt like you weren't ever vulnerable with me. You never told me, you never asked me for anything that you needed. And whenever shit went wrong, you just fell off the map. And I was aggressive. And so look at us now. You know, like now it's like, you're not, I mean, you're right. There is that dynamic growing up and you are younger than me, but you're not my little brother.
Yeah.
You know, and like, I think that by watching your growth and your maturity, at the same time with my growth and my maturity, we've both become more vulnerable in our relationships and in this siblinghood together, which has led us to being like the versions that we never were in the past. It's like we could have always been that in the past, but there was so much toxic masculinity and that dynamic of older brother, younger brother, and you having the expectation that I do this because I'm the older brother and me having the expectation that this is the way you are because you're the little brother. I think that really kept us from being vulnerable because we had all these defined things on our relationship. I mean, the luckiest thing that we've always said that we've had is that we are brothers. We are siblings. Because if we weren't siblings, we probably wouldn't have been friends anymore. We wouldn't have never had the chance to get to this point.
Totally.
Because we're so different.
Yeah.
We're literally very different.
Well, and we've had things happen in our relationship that have been just detrimentally terrible.
Right.
And so I think of that as like, yeah, if we were just friends, we had no DNA relation, I would have never talked to you again. You would have never talked to me again. But
probably.
luckily, that's not the case.
That's why I said the last podcast, it's like we're two suns that have been crashing into each other. And I do not blame anybody, but I do think we were dealt a certain hand where it felt like it's not fair. Life's not fair. And I do think that I'm in a beautiful place now and have been for the last 3 years of like life. My therapist tells me this, life happens at us. We just have to take it as it comes. And it's like, yeah, but I am happening at life. Like this is life happening because of me. If I wasn't aware and I wasn't alive, then there would be no life. It's because of my awareness that there is this beautiful like experience of joy and suffering. And you always say, you always have a choice. That's just the reality. No matter what happens, you always have a choice, which means life is going to happen the way that I choose it to.
Yeah.
I can't stop for what happens. We can't stop the family we were born into. And we've always said it, nor would we ever want to.
Yeah.
But we do know the fucking consequences that have come from it. And from our youth, we were ripped apart from each other before any of the real trauma set in. We were just little kids still. And you were 15 and I was 17. And there were very strong people in our life that were like, you can no longer see each other.
Yeah.
You're done.
Yeah.
It's like, but we're family. Nope, not anymore.
Yeah.
Not right now, at least. I think that has direct consequences on mine and your budding.
Probably.
But I think that once the blame game stopped, like we've been trying to be a part of each other's lives forever. It's never not like I've always wanted to be part of your life. And so I think that the beautiful part of this podcast together has been like, this is what vulnerability can look like publicly. We're not just like some podcast that's just comedians shooting the shit every single week to try to get a laugh. We're trying to come up with really deep topics about trauma and trauma healing and about mine and your relationship.
Yeah.
That has the focus of like religious trauma on it. Because that's like, I think a lot of the consequences for what kept us out of orbit.
Yeah.
And that's what caused a lot of the sun's explosions. I guess I'm still, when I say that, I'm still blaming something, but you know what I mean?
I don't know. Like we did mention last podcast, we have like a powerful energy to each other. And so that energy mixed with drugs and alcohol, tough to control.
An ego.
And insane egos that were being fed by other individuals in our life too, making us solidify our egos and think we were like superhumans when we're just humans and we're just brothers. And this life, man, is such a choice. I feel like we've just legit chosen everything that's happened in our lives, whether we want to believe it or not. And just looking back at everything we've been through, it's like, dude, I so chose that. I chose all those incidences and all of the things that we wanted to happen but didn't happen, especially when I think of blouse. It's like, I think we chose that.
100%.
And that you can choose to be vulnerable. And I think if we were more vulnerable with each other back then and we're healthier, we probably would have different choices that would lead to different outcomes. Whereas now we're starting to see that and take a lot more responsibility in our lives and make these choices, ask for help, be vulnerable with everyone that we love in our lives, try to be as vulnerable as possible, because vulnerability is power, and vulnerability is truly, like, I think one of the purest things we can do as humans is be vulnerable with another human.
Yeah, I love it. I love that you said that.
Yeah.
That's really perfect because we're not supposed to, I really do, like, this is a definite. I do not think we're supposed to be in this life alone. I think there are things that we can do alone that are extremely powerful, because when you're traveling the cosmos, you're on your own. Or at least there's this part of, like, I guess another way of phrasing it is like, I am you and you are me. Or I am another you. Right? Like, that's a way of, like, thinking about it. It's like everybody you meet, you're just another version of them. We are all in this together, and not working together is damaging. It's lonely. It's confusing. These thoughts, this world, the control, the power, the money, or the lack of all those things.
Yeah.
And so having one more person is so powerful. One person to be vulnerable with is like means so much.
Well, and it's a huge privilege, man. I feel incredibly privileged to have you in my life, to have my partner in my life, because there are people that really don't, and I feel like that would be just 10 times harder to not be even able to be vulnerable with somebody because you're just alone in a different nation, different country, a whole different situation, whatever it be.
I think that's in those situations is when you realize how much you need it.
Yeah,
right? It's like you don't realize what you don't have until it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's something that we should be practicing daily. And, something as a nurse I've noticed, and I've said this a lot on the podcast, is that, my patients are, Atmore, the dog right now is needing something. Come lay down. Come on. My patients, they come into the hospital coming into a very scared situation. They're going to be put to sleep by anesthesia. They're going to have their knees replaced. They're going to have their hearts looked at.
Yeah.
So when somebody goes into a really scary situation where they are forced, if you will, quote unquote, forced to allow other humans to take control over their body, and you're asking them questions like, when was your last period? I'm a guy. I know. I'm sorry. But when was your last? Are you pregnant?
Yeah.
Pee into this cup and prove it.
Yeah.
We're going to send it. I know you're not, but we have to prove it. It's just liability. Like all of these things that you have to be, when was the last time you smoked meth? You don't smoke meth? I see in your history here, you're a meth addict. Like you have everyone's history. So like there's this, or just a normal person.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you don't have much medical history. And I know that because I have your entire history here. And people there's this thing that happens when you come into the hospital where just like everything goes out the window. You just like all ego kind of goes out. And the saying is like, people are always like, like I forget what the saying is, but it's like I hear patients say the same thing where it's you have to shave their chests or something before like a heart procedure or their groin, like the femoral artery by their groins. And so there's like a lot of this vulnerability where it's like, I feel violated. And I'm just like using comforting language and a real positive energy and soft energy to help people feel really okay about it. And most people just freely are like, do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. It's okay, man. I'm a patient. It's okay. And there's something that happens when you're really scared for your life that you become the most vulnerable with everybody. Mm-hmm. Like I am super scared and I don't want to die. And I'm going to put all my trust in all of these nurses and these doctors. So have me as you need me to be right now. Mm-hmm. And I think that we don't always come to life that way.
Yeah.
That's like a special outward situation that causes us to become extremely vulnerable with everybody around us.
Well, it's the only thing we know.
Imagine if every day you woke up, it was like being a patient in a hospital bed that's going to go through a surgery. You'd be opening up with everybody. Mm-hmm. And in reality, we are all patients. Every day is another day to be like doing that surgery on ourselves. Preparing our bodies, being vulnerable with ourselves so that when whoever we come in contact with, it's like, hey, we're in this together. What's going on? How about this? I share with you something, you share something with me, and we grow together. It doesn't work that way, right? That's not how we are with everybody. But I think that's an energy. I think if we come to ourselves that way, if we wake up every day with that approach, then our relationships, that's felt, that energy is received. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like that person's honest. You can feel that with people. Like, that's an honest individual right there. You can feel it just by the way they move and talk. Because everything is energy and energy is everything.
And being the vulnerable person is powerful. You can get other people to see that if you're just vulnerable with them.
Because being truly vulnerable means you're not needing anything in return.
Exactly.
And that's a safe place for people to be. And they're like, wow, I trust you.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I think, and you and I are noticing this right now. This is why the topic of asking for help is a unique one, because there are people coming to us, hitting us up, asking for help. And we've just talked about this before the podcast. Like when we get emails from people that we don't know who say things like, hey, I came across your podcast. I listened to an episode. I'm going through a lot of religious trauma. Can we talk? Mm-hmm. It's like, what are we going to do for you? But that's exactly why we started this podcast, was to talk with other people that have had similar traumas. And now we're opening the floodgates. It's going to be just trauma in general.
Yeah.
But that like, there's something about when you're vulnerable, people feel safe to be vulnerable back.
Yeah.
And that act alone is like, requires taking responsibility and being aware of that.
Yeah.
And that's the superpower, I think, is awareness and responsibility. And that leads to an action of being vulnerable with somebody else.
Yeah.
And
I mean, look at the connection, just bringing back up Austin. I feel like he was incredibly vulnerable with us. They were incredibly vulnerable with us. And we were vulnerable with them, talking to them and relating with them. And now I think I consistently think back on him and just this vulnerable connection. It created like a connection between two people, between three people. And I think vulnerability is like a key to connection to other humans. And
trust.
You can easily see and feel that boundary not opening up when you are vulnerable to someone and they just instantly are like, no.
Oh, no, yeah.
You're into like, well, let's move on because
this is more of like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I'm going to go now.
Yeah.
Or it's just, yeah, you're right. It's just, that's energy is everything and everything is energy. I think that's like, it's felt. It's like, nothing even needs to be said.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like interesting when we decided to talk about this because it is a hard thing for me to do in my life. I've always felt to be one of the most vulnerable people in the room. That's how I've always felt. That's just because I like communicate a lot about my feelings. And I think I've always been really vulnerable about my feelings. I'm not afraid to show them. But I've learned that I have used my words and communication as a barrier to be truly vulnerable. And one of the ways that I'm learning how to be more vulnerable is like when I do go to my partner or I do go to a friend or I do reach out, it's when people come back to me to offer support, it makes me feel super uncomfortable. And this is just me being honest. And so a good example is like, I'll just be an honest example, is I got a handful of texts throughout the week, which is talk about privilege, new friends in my life who reached out to me just saying, hey, I want to let you know that I love you. And if there's anything you need, I'm here for you. And I got these texts and just felt that love and responded. And then like throughout the day was getting this feeling of like, I don't need anybody's help. It was really strange.
That is strange.
It's like,
but it also isn't strange.
But I mean, I'm learning where that comes from. Like so much of my healing is because I felt so rejected in my life.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of my past relationships, romantic partners, and even friendships were all kind of built around rejection. It was like that felt normal to me. And so when I get the opposite of that, even though I have that in my romantic partner now, I have that with my family now, I'm creating that by being more vulnerable. When I actually receive vulnerable help back, it's like a feeling of this ain't right. This doesn't feel familiar. And what's familiar is not getting help, not asking for it, not being vulnerable. And so goes
the ego loves familiar.
The ego, familiarity is that comfort.
Yeah. And
so even that help that comes to me is not what I'm used to. So because I'm not used to it, I'm scared of it.
Yeah.
And it feels new. It's like, and my inner child does this thing where it's like, I can feel my inner child's like excited. Cause like what kid doesn't like new things, right? Like think of any kid where you're like, guess what we're doing today? Something you've never done before. And they're like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? It doesn't even matter what it is. You know, running on hot coals is a little bit how it feels. It's like, that's new. I've never ran on hot coals but it's not hot coals. It's actually like a pillowy, like bed full of pillows that you can just like lay on. Or it's it's like an emotional massage is literally what it feels like. It's like, is this okay? Is this normal? Because I'm so used to like doing it myself. And so that's what I'm really working on right now is when I'm getting a lot better at being vulnerable with those I love. But when they provide me help, allowing that fear and allowing that like discomfort to just be a part of me and work with it and dance with it. Because it's so all the time. It's like, hey, can I help you in any way today? It's like, let me get back to you. It's like the immediate thing is like, absolutely not. I'm fine.
Yeah.
But now it's like, give me a couple hours. And definitely, because it's like, I'm just going to say yes now, and I guess another way that I'm doing that is just by like trying to hang out with more friends. Hey, what are you doing? Can we go on a hike? Because I'm scared of friendships. I'm like scared of getting burnt. I'm scared of like, because I've dated and befriended a lot of narcissistic rejection type of people. And I'm not here to judge them or say anything ill about them. It's just the truth of me learning within my healing. So like reaching out to somebody that I know I trust and love or trying to build a new friendship with, it's like, I feel like this is a risk. What's the point? It's just going to burn me in the end. And it's like, what if you were also burning them by not being truly vulnerable? Because if you are truly vulnerable and like what you said, and that person isn't the same back, you can feel it, set a boundary and move on.
Because if you don't, you're just trying to get something.
Right, exactly. You're just trying to get something.
Yeah.
And what is that thing? It's like attention.
Or just fulfilling something that you don't think you have yet, or an inner feeling in yourself that you're trying to blind.
Right.
And reaching for that into somebody else is trying to make change that you can't change, which you go for 5 years down the road in that friendship and it ends tragically, or could end tragically. It's like, well, what were you feeding off in this relationship?
Yeah, not being vulnerable with myself first, not doing the hard work.
Yeah.
And like healing is violent. And now that work's really being done in my life personally, without my partner, with like, this is, I am going to do the things I know I need to do to befriend myself, to love me first.
I'm starting to think a lot of the issues in relationships have to do with self-love that reflect onto either the other partner or just the other friend, where it's, I don't love myself, and so I have to treat you this way.
You mean the lack of self-love?
Yeah. Is that what, did I not say that?
You just said self-love.
Yeah.
But not, yeah, I got
the
you.
lack of self-love, I think, probably is, or could be like.
That reflects on the relationship.
Exactly.
Can you give me an example?
I could. My brain instantly goes to like relationship issues and things like that. That might be a little too personal to bring up into this podcast.
Oh yeah.
But
I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I think like that's what I think is like, everything is energy. And so if you're not doing anything to heal on your own, if you're not doing like what you know is best for you first, that's going to literally reflect itself onto your relationships.
Yeah.
The lack of self-love is going to reflect onto your relationships.
You're going to want to pull whatever you're not getting out of yourself, not loving yourself. You're going to want to try to pull it out of other people. And that's draining on friendships, draining on relationships.
That's extreme neediness.
Yeah. And you can feel it when someone's not doing that.
Yeah.
And when you're in a friendship, I'll just leave it at that, not even relationship, just a friendship with someone who is not loving themselves, you can feel them draining the love out of you so that they can feel loved, or they have a lot of needs, or they don't care about your needs and they only care about their own. And they think that they're giving you all this love and all this attention, when in reality it's just draining, and years go by and then the relationship is catastrophic. And it's like, what happened? It's like, well, either we both don't love ourselves or one of us doesn't love ourselves. It kind of feels that way.
And I think that if like putting us on blast, if I'm the one who's in that situation and I'm not loving myself, that's why it leads to a 5-year bonding relationship until it catastrophically comes to an end.
Yeah.
Because these are real relationships. They're real friendships. And then when you look back on them, it's like, oh, it was them. And it was like, no. That's the ego. Why don't you just worry about yourself?
Anytime you blame anyone else. I mean, there's certain circumstances where I feel like it's tough not to be like, look at what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like there's a problem there. But most circumstances, anytime I feel like, look at like it's them. I can't deal with them. It's them. I can't deal with the way they make me feel. It's always me. It's really always me. And then if you just go inward and get rid of the ego of it's other people around me, the world's coming at me, it's the same thing with taking responsibility can solve a lot of those inner issues that cause more problems in your exterior world.
Yeah. Which requires awareness of your own self.
Yeah.
Which is the beginning of self-love.
Yeah.
Because love ain't pretty. It takes work.
Yeah.
I think love is something that's a lot more, it's like simple and complicated. It's not a feeling. It's like,
it's consistent action.
It's a process.
Yeah.
Trust the process.
You're like building the oiled machine that was broken.
Right.
It's like rebuild it, take off every single screw and rebuild it.
Right. Yeah. And so I think that the more you're vulnerable with yourself, and how does that look? It's doing the hard thing. Oh, I just want to go out and drink and get drunk. That's, you're disassociating. I'm not saying that,
it's just like keep asking yourself why.
Nothing about the alcohol.
Yeah.
But like anything that distracts you from your pain.
You don't have to say that. There's something about the alcohol.
It's something about, yeah, for sure.
It's a consistent story that if you drink constantly, or you're an individual that's consistently drinking, there's issues at hand, and there's avoidance at hand.
I know that people, all the different types, I just wasn't one of them that knew how to do like 1 glass a night or 1 glass a week or whatever. So everyone has their relationship with these medicines.
Yeah.
But some of these substances, literally what they do is disassociate you from yourself. And when you get pulled away from yourself, that can be marijuana, that can be alcohol, that can be really anything on how you're using it.
Be food.
Exactly. Yeah. It can be the partner you're with. It can be the actual relationship. Anything that's pulling you away from yourself is probably not self-love. And self-love requires true awareness of yourself, which is your feelings.
Which are uncomfortable.
Which are so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then when you become more in tune with your feelings, that's normally when you're like, I want to talk to somebody about my feelings.
Yeah.
And just to ask them for help. And normally that person's like, damn, that's what another human looks like when they have feelings, and they're very similar to mine.
Yeah.
And that's the thing where it's like, I'm just another you.
Yeah.
Come as you are.
Yeah.
And it ain't easy. And I do think it's pretty beautiful though, as trusting that process and doing it is just strengthening, and something I will be working on for the very rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I guess this is how it kind of looks on a public YouTube podcast.
Totally.
This is a version of our version of self-love, is being extremely creative, editing, filming and recording, and having a very in-depth conversation every weekend about our trauma and about healing and just about these topics. And I think that when we start to bridge the gap of having people on this podcast, they're going to be vulnerable. And it's going to be awesome.
I think you would have to be vulnerable to want to be on our podcast.
That's the whole point.
It's like, what do you want to bring to the podcast? What do you want? It's like, you want to be on the podcast? It's like, cool. Well, you have to talk about your trauma.
Yeah. What else? Yeah.
Like, that's what we're doing on this podcast. We talk about our trauma. Our trauma is religious trauma. If your trauma is not religious trauma, that's great. You can talk on this podcast about your trauma. We would love to just talk to you about it. Not to just be open about it, but more of like to heal.
Yeah.
To do that work and talking about it openly. We've talked about it multiple times in multiple different podcasts where that's the help, is we are being vulnerable with each other, but then also these cameras, and giving that platform to other people. It's like we see the medicine in it, and being vulnerable here and talking about it and making it open and creating that powerful space. And so it's like, people are going to be on our podcast. It's like, well,
it's a powerful
get
space.
Ready to be
here.
vulnerable. And some of the people that have told me they want to be on the podcast because they have religious trauma in the area too that I work with. I consistently remind them, it's like, remember, it's very vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because that's really what it is. It's like, it's a very vulnerable podcast.
And I guess, like, I always like to reiterate that it's just, as if anyone's been watching us long enough, you know that we really do just come as we are.
Mm-hmm.
We shoot the shit for the first 10 minutes because it's not easy jumping into these topics.
Not at all.
And sometimes, I mean, we could have a lot more structure, but a lot of what we're trying to do here is just have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the topic. Let's just talk about it.
Yeah.
And I know that people have very in-depth historical lives, and we hope to offer this platform for a place for them to talk about what they feel comfortable with publicly here.
Mm.
You and I have been going in now for 40 episodes, and I plan to go many, many more.
Yeah.
And some weeks it's just harder than others.
Totally.
And so we are living proof on a certain level, because there's a lot that we don't talk about in this podcast. But most of the things that we're talking about in this podcast are because we are living it in real life. And you and I all week long have come to each other Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Every single day has been, hey, bro, how are you doing? How are you feeling?
Mm-hmm.
Not good. I feel like shit.
Yeah.
Just know that I'm here for you. Whatever you need, I believe you're going to get through today. I love you.
Mm-hmm.
Next day. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's new for us.
Well, yeah, especially after, last Saturday, we both had a pretty heavy week of integration. And I've liked that perspective of it's going to take some days to reintegrate.
There's a lot of processing.
And I think just reflecting on that, in general, I just didn't realize the power of that Saturday and really the experience we had together and as brothers. And it's like, oh, well, I didn't know what we were stepping into. And then so all this week has been like really reflecting on how emotional and real that day was and how powerful it was.
How vulnerable it was.
Yeah. And then having to go to work.
Yeah.
And being like, how you doing? Bad? Good. Me too. I'm not doing good. It's like, I also have a good day at work. Got to go to work. It's really tough, but it's beautiful to have the brotherhood that we have now to be able to.
There's been like this week together, there's been like a combination of camaraderie in pain and camaraderie in true healing and strength. And there was some days where it was like, we're both hurting. Like we're both scared to be alive. And then there were some days where I was hurting and you were like, oh my God, what you're going through, I can't even imagine. And you said the right things. You were just like, it was just like what I just needed help. Just like, I just need someone to not be in, because you're not in the same pain as me. It's different. So you're like, yeah, I'm not going through what you're going through. Just know that what you're doing is amazing and I'm here for you. And it was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
And then like, there was a day where, we checked on each other and you're really not doing well. And I just brought you like things.
Yeah.
Like, this is where I'm at. This is what I believe in you. Like, I'm here for you. And it was just, so we're living it. And it's not easy. And you know what? I'll be honest with you, Zach. It's like, it does feel uncomfortable doing this with you. Like being daily or every other day or whenever we check in with each other, it doesn't feel great all the time.
Yeah.
It feels uncomfortable because it's like new for us. And it's the same thing with Megan. I told her, it's like, what I'm about to tell you, I'm kind of shaking in my boots right now, but I need to be direct now. I have to be direct with you with what I need. And it's just like, and she's like, thank you so much for saying that to me. And I'm like, oh, really? It's like, it's just true. Like, that's how I feel. Is I feel like crazy sometimes with how difficult the process can feel and how scary it is. But I'm just learning how to dance with that fear, baby. Like, bring it on. I'm like, that fear is becoming a part. Like, what did Theodore Roosevelt said? I think it was Theodore Roosevelt said, the only thing to fear is fear itself. And if I got that name wrong or the person wrong, then who cares?
Yeah.
But the only thing to fear is fear itself. I'm really starting to understand that. I really am. Well, I think I want to finish off this podcast by reading a little something.
Okay.
Unless there's anything else you want to say.
No.
You can be the master of your fate. You can be the captain of your soul. But you have to realize that life is coming from you and not at you. And that takes time. This is coming from, part of that's coming from a poem by Ernest Henley called Invictus. In the end of the poem, he says, you can be the master of your fate. You can be the captain of your soul. And then I heard some other things and I kind of created this like version of like, but you have to realize that life is coming from you, not at you.
It's interesting. What made you want to read that quote?
I found this, I was watching, I'll be honest, I was watching a short on YouTube and I heard someone say that on the short, you can be the master of your fate. And I was like, huh. And I was like, that sounds really beautiful. And so I like searched that up on the Chat GPT and it was like, oh, that's from a poem called Invictus. And I was like, of course.
Good it's from a poem because I saw a similar short too. And I thought this guy was just a genius. I was like, whoever this kid is some actor. I was like, this kid.
We must have saw the same short. I'm sure there's a lot of people that saw this short. I love this because this is what beautiful art should be handed down.
Yeah.
This is where credit matters, but at the same time, like, this is a beautiful thing to be sharing.
Yeah.
And the poem itself is just beautiful, but it's kind of like this person that wrote this, you know, the poem's dark. He's in a place of pain, but all of it's about like, I might be bleeding, and my head might be super bloody from all the pain, but pain will not become me. Like, I will not become it. I shall stand in the darkest of nights without it, you know, overcoming me. And
there's just something so powerful about that idea of the world's not coming at you. It's like it feels like that as the individual of your soul. You get lost in your ego, you get lost in your feelings, and it feels like, why is the world so hard? Why is the world so hard? It's like, in reality, it's just not that. It's never that. And when you kind of come to that conclusion that it is all you, and you are the master of your soul, or whatever that quote is, it's like the only way you get there is to realize the world's not coming at you ever. You are the world. You are the reality.
Yeah, you're the reason why you're you being alive is a gift that it keeps on giving. The actor that's short, I'm remembering, it's the kid from Dune. What's his name?
And Zendaya, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same short, dude. Oh, I love YouTube. Because that means everyone's seeing really powerful things.
I saw it on TikTok.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, then get out. No. But like, yeah, no, I'm not saying that that's mine at all. I think that that's why when I heard him say it, and like, I love that that's being shared so much.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's such a snippet of such a much bigger poem. The very end of it is that you can be the master of your fate and the captain of your soul. It's like, love that.
But what's that last part?
The last part was what he added, which I'm sure was from somebody else. And it was like, but the reality is you have to learn that life isn't happening at you. It's you have to realize that life is coming from you and not at you, and that takes time. And I love that. That's a lot of what I'm learning in my healing.
Yeah.
And I've been saying that life happens at us, and that's true. It does. But really, the reason why you're experiencing what's happening at you at all is because you're happening at life.
Yeah.
Like, you're here to experience the joy and suffering. That is the beauty. That is the glory. That's the light. That's the sun. Right? You are the light.
Well, and it's in every moment. It's not just like you wake up and you have that thought and you go out throughout your day. It's like every conversation you have, you are the creator of how that conversation goes. You are the creator of how you feel at work. You're the creator of how you feel right now. It's like, well, I'm tired. It's like, cool. You're choosing to be that. Everything really is a choice. And I feel like the toughest times in life are when the world's just coming at you. And that's the way it feels. And you can't get out of that.
And in those moments, you're like, I'm literally going to experience this for what it is, because this is what life is.
Yeah.
Like, this is my life.
Yeah.
I'm chosen. I'm not cursed. I am chosen to be this.
Yeah. To have this experience.
Yeah. And those experiences can be brutal. And so you're like, help.
Yeah.
Can I have some help?
Yeah. Please.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. So
good conversation, dude.
It was like, honestly, it's like, I was kind of shocked how hard it was for me to get into this topic, because it's like, I feel uncomfortable. I felt a little uncomfortable talking about, like, how do you talk about asking for help when it's hard to ask for help?
Yeah. You asked for help.
Yeah, we did. We asked each other for help. That was good. And that was a good talk. I love you.
Love you.
But you know what it is, folks. We're back, getting our inner child from the inside out. We're going to the game cam. Well, mate, the game cam. Welcome back to the game cam. So if you're just listening, then that's probably going to be real annoying. And if you're watching, you're seeing right now that we are back playing Mario Kart.
Yeah, do yourself a favor and just hop on over to YouTube.
Mario Kart is, we played Wave Race 64 last week, and it was miserable. And we don't have much time, like, choosing a game that would work better. And we're just Mario Kart fiends. And so we figured we're going to keep doing battle.
We're going to do some 2.0s in these battles.
And I think Zach's also a little bit, like, frustrated with how much I've been winning. So it's just...
Maybe a little bit. No one knows for sure.
He wants a comeback. And I do like the racing, but battles seem to be where it's at.
battles seem to be exciting, especially when we get a good one going.
Ooh, I'm going to be DK. Dear Toad, you're going down. So, do you want to just start from the top and do Big Donut?
I mean, we could. Donut's just like the most boring one.
Block Fort.
Yeah.
I think we started the last time with Block Fort.
Block Fort 2.0, baby.
Here we go. Here, Jinx. And I haven't actually announced this in a while. Oh, I'm not going to follow you. But that music you're hearing in the background, yeah, that's right. It ain't the Mario theme, is it? No. That is yours truly. I have been writing new beats. The last song I wrote for last week, if you care to see a short that's going to go up at some point or go watch the episode, you'll notice how dancey it is. I wrote a dance song because I just love writing dance music. No! Oh, wow, you missed.
I did miss.
Dance music, deep house, all of that. It's just the love of my life. I just can't help it. And plus, when I'm not feeling well, writing music does help. And because I'm writing more music, I was like so pleasantly surprised how good dance music felt writing it. Like I felt so much better after I wrote that song.
I can imagine. Yes, no, I've loved all of your music. That's really good.
Thank you. That most, I don't know if you're listening to your headphones, but if you do listen to, I guess you're the only one that gets to actually listen to the full track, but I did a full on 808 bass drum that I really liked to it. Yeah, it was like a really heavy bass drum I spent some time on. Oh, I just ran into my own box, but I was a ghost, so here we go. Drop that there, missed that box. I'm staying on the high levels this game, baby.
Yeah. Ooh. Those darn squares are very, very scary.
Yeah! Get out of here, sucker. Well, there you are with the bananas again.
Oh boy.
Where you going?
Where are you going?
Let's play.
Let's play, baby. Where are you going?
I'm coming for you, baby.
You coming?
Why are you talking like that? That's weird. Why are you talking like that?
Baby?
Oh!
No, I'm coming for you, baby.
Oh, I thought I had this. Man, what if I lose? I'm gonna be real upset. 2 stars? Oh, that was so close. I almost got you.
Perfect timing.
In between it. Wow, you got another red shell. This is stupid.
You just got another red shell. That's stupid.
Oh!
Goodness gracious.
Get over here. Oh, yeah, baby. Get hit by one of my green shells. Get hit.
No. I won't.
Ah.
Oh, nice hit.
I'm out here, dude. Ah.
Dang it. I just ruined my star. There's green shells everywhere. Oh, no. This is really tough down here.
Get over here, sucker. It's tied right now. 2 balloons. We play best of 3 so far.
No,
this first
best out of 3, not best 2, 3.
You've said that before. I'm sorry. I keep messing it up. Oh, there goes my star.
Oh, I just wasted a red shell.
Yes, you did. That's going to be me, baby. I'm going to win. Nope, you're going to be a ghost real quick here. Fire away. Sure. Take my bananas. Oh!
Yep.
Oh!
Banana's coming in clutch.
Oh, I just got hit by a banana. That was lame. Where you going? Get over here. Ow, dude. Oh, this is getting so lame.
Just lost my star. Okay.
I really need this. We need to get equal here. Stupid ghost, stupid stars. There's nothing you can do with that. Boom! Oh. I honestly thought I had you.
Oh, goodness gracious. Green shell came out of nowhere.
That was one of my old ones.
Oh, you just took my star, dude. Oh, boy. Green shells everywhere. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness me.
Oh!
You
I got
just
hit
got
by
hit by
my
a
own
green
green
baby.
shell.
All right.
Toad 1 and DK 0.
Yep. Coming in hot.
Round 2.
You always just want to bump me. Did you get the boost?
Yes, I did.
How do you get the boost?
'Cause I'm a drummer. I have great timing. I have great timing. I'm a drummer, so I know how to get the boost. Come here. Come here. Where are you going?
Where are you going?
Trying to find you. Come here. Oh! Almost hit myself. Did you see that? I literally almost took myself out. I really hope I get this win.
I love how they show that you could still get lightning, but you never can get lightning. They still show it.
Yeah, they never give it to you.
Oh my gosh, 2 red shells?
Come here.
No.
Come here. Yes!
How'd you get in between?
Yes!
How'd you get in between my green shells? What a shot.
It's a rare shot, but it
timing.
works.
I'm a drummer.
It's timing, baby. You heard it. Oh, there's green shells down here. I do not want to be down here. How did I miss the...
Yeah, you saw that.
Dude, those red shells from the top layer are never fun. Ooh, there's a box around there. Baby, got boxes all around here.
I'm just wasting red shell after red shell.
Why would you do that?
I'm panicking.
Yes, you are. Panic. Bye-bye. Okay, I'm getting a little bit better on the controls. Oh.
Gracious.
Oh, I thought you were going to go right into me.
No.
Dang it. That's that. Yeah, that's how you get a red shell on somebody when you're on the top level and they have 3 green shells as you shoot it from the top.
Yeah, but it has to be like right on top of them.
Oh, snap. Oh, snap.
Yeah, a lot of green shells. A lot of green shells down there.
Woo!
Just wasted that red shell.
Oh, got hit by one of the green shells. That is stupid. That was a lame. I made it out of there so clean and then out of nowhere. Okay, dangerous area.
The danger zone.
Oh, yes.
No. Oh my goodness. That was nuts. Oh, I'm on the bottom floor and there's green shells everywhere.
Dang, I went the wrong way. I had you, man.
You did.
That was so close. See, if you're not watching, then what are you doing with your life?
Yeah, not much.
Whoa! Trying to come out hot. I got 2 green shells as a barrier and a red shell to blow you up, motherfucker. Ah, here I come. Where you going?
There's a lot of obstacles in this game now, dude. You're not gonna rethink your world. Oh no!
Come on.
Oh! What a shot, dude.
Oh my gosh, I just wasted that green
1-1.
shell. I just wasted the red shell. Oh, I panicked. Oh man, I cannot believe this. I don't even know which box is real anymore. Oh, snap. Oh my gosh, I can't even get a box. I don't know which one's okay.
And none of them are okay. I plant them very strategically. Oh my gosh, they're everywhere though.
Oh, that was too close. Too close. Too close.
Oh! You got banana. See? Folks, that's why you always put bananas everywhere. Because you come in and you do a sweep like that.
You know what? So he got 2 balloons. You got 2 balloons by like a lucky shell and a lucky banana.
They're not lucky. They're strategic.
They're like mines.
Yeah.
They're like it's like a minefield. Dang. You know what? I'm actually happy you won.
Thank you.
You know, because I keep winning all the time.
Yeah.
It's boring to win all the time.
I'm on 2 in a row. I won last week too.
My eye is burning again.
Yeah.
It's like.
Yeah. I'm getting back at it, dude. I'm not practicing at home.
No, I could tell like when we first got started, you moved the screen all the way your way, so you're like into it. You're like, I need to see better.
Well, I think I'm also just remembering how to win at Mario Kart. And at first, when we were first playing, we were just riding around like, oh, I'm not getting the right things. And you would just be like, red shell.
Yeah.
Red shell. Where it's like, there's a strategy to it.
I made some mistakes there. I wasted a red shell. You wasted a lot of red shells. I was watching you just pump those out.
I was panicked.
The thing about that round was every box had another exploding box by it. So it was like, can't get those.
Yeah.
Don't know which one that was. Can't get that one.
Yeah.
That was solid.
Good game.
That was intense. Yeah. Echo. Garage on.
Wow. Must be that drummer timing.
I am good with the timing. I am a drummer too. It's like a nice triplet. Dun 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 dun. So something that you showed me earlier was the artwork to your new single, Pay Me.
Nothing's been released yet. Nothing's even been uploaded.
Can't you just
yet.
show the screen, like the cameras really quick? Can't you just do a sneak peek?
Nah.
Come on.
Nah.
Pay me. But it's good, folks. And can I tell them a little bit of what's on it? Or you want it to be all surprise?
I don't think anyone gets to this part of our podcast.
That's what my
so
point.
You can say anything you want.
Zachary shows him his full self, baby.
Yeah,
he shows
baby.
his body, his face. I'm so proud of you, man.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for you to do this.
It's an interesting thing, though. I had this queer studies teacher, one of my favorite teachers I've ever had at the junior college here. Oh, there it goes. There's all power. Yeah. Shocked. And we would write essays, and she always would like grade really well and give you good insight. But then we'd do like a little check-in. So you'd write an essay, you'd revise it 4 or 5 times, and then she would just tell you like, you're not queering your writing enough. You need to queer your writing more. That's what she would call it, like queer your writing. Because there's a queer studies class.
I got you.
And so I got this idea of queering where it's like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing to queer the art? And with this photo shoot that we took, it's such an interesting approach to what a hardcore rap song should ever be. And the album art is queering the whole idea. I love it.
Yeah, dude, I know. I love the way you described that. That's exactly how it looks.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of you for it.
Thanks, man.
It's all about breaking down that identity, man.
Yeah.
Or I guess not breaking it. It's breaking down the norms, the construct, all of that shit. Break it down, rebuild it.
Yep. Other news, June 10th, I'm performing for the first time ever as Signs.
Yes.
So if you would like to come see me perform, it's going to be at the California Theater in Sonoma here.
Yep.
So June
come
10th,
check it out.
Come check it out.
We'll be there. Me and Megan will be there in the audience, shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah. Yay.
Anyways, and I don't have too much to announce. Me and Megan are going to New Orleans soon. Well, I guess like in a month and a half to start planning our wedding. So that's exciting.
That is exciting.
Evan's I've asked my son to be my best man.
Really?
Yeah. Well, because I want you to be my best man.
But you asked your son?
But he's gonna be my best man.
Okay.
What?
I just don't know.
What?
I don't know.
Why are you laughing at that?
That's great. It's so cute. Good for you.
Dude, that's like the most sweetest thing in the world.
That is sweet.
Think about it. When does anybody have their own son, their best man?
Yeah.
Who else would it be? It's gonna be you. I want you to be my best man.
But you already asked your son.
But I mean, you're gonna be standing with him.
I don't even want it anymore.
But like the thing is like, do you think Evan's gonna be coming with me on my bachelor's party? No. It's a bigger picture. He's my son. He's my best son man.
Right.
He's my best son's man.
Right.
But and so that's gonna be exciting. Trying to find the venue. Pretty sure we're going to be getting married at the hottest, most humid time of the year in New Orleans.
I just think, no, it's
we want
wedding.
people to have a memory. That's seriously what we want.
I don't know.
We want people to go home being like, it was really tough wedding.
Well, I lived in New Orleans through 2 summers.
I've been there.
All of
summers.
them I don't remember.
That's your fault. I remember all of them.
It was miserable.
I remember all of them. I remember every single bit of that humidity.
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see when we plan it.
It's a hot omelet.
I told you about the drum album, and it's a work in progress. It's we'll see.
It's progress in work.
Trusting the process is what it is.
Indeed.
I could stay on these cameras with you all night, buddy.
I'll probably fall asleep at some point.
Then let's call it.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks
Bye,
for
everybody.
watching.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Much love, and see you next time.
Bye.